Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
And on this episode, we're talking about tips for times when you're feeling just less than an average vegan.
Less than an
Just,
average.
just,
Those
just
moments when you might feel a little more anxious, a little bit more down in the dumps, like all of 2020
right. the
and now 2021.
beginning part of it anyway. I think we have those moments for different
Yeah, so we're
reasons.
just
Yep.
right.
Okay. Kind of talk to you a little bit. Yep, we're good. Okay. But I think you feel like that, for different reasons. Whether it's you've had a not so fun year, like a lot of us did or didn't have, depending on how you look at it. Or sometimes you wake up and it's just one of them days that a girl goes
One of
through.
the
When I'm angry inside, I'll take it out on you. That is a song, and someone there has heard this and knows what I'm talking about. That's a song from like what, the '90s. I don't remember who it was. It's Monica. I think it was Monica. It's a song by Monica,
Oh
and
my
it was.
god.
It's one of them days
David
that a
just
girl goes
quoted
through
Monica from
when
the
I'm
night.
when I'm angry inside. I don't take it out on you. But anyway, so when you maybe wake up, you're not feeling 100% yourself, or maybe you're a little down, or been a tough week. Just things that we do, or suggestions we have to kind of work through those emotions, and come across on the other side. Maybe hopefully a little better than average, but at least back to your old average self.
Yeah, we are not mental health experts. We're not claiming to be, but we both have had our own struggles, as everyone has. And there are certain things that we do that help us kind of turn it around a little bit. Even if it just makes you smile for a few minutes, any kind of relief during those kind of stressful, anxious moments are wonderful. So these are our tips that have helped us. Um, we definitely kind of want to start by saying it's perfectly normal to feel average and less than average. I have felt pretty less than average for a lot of the past year, and that's okay. I mean, we are going through a pandemic, and even when you're not, it's not. I guess I kind of grew up at a point where it felt like you should be ashamed if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling sad or depressed at all. It was not something that was talked about in a positive way, whereas you can overcome it, you can come out on the other side. That was like never
Well,
discussed.
that's the
So
that's
we're here
the
to break that.
yeah, that's the idea of like of toxic positivity, of like, oh, you shouldn't be sad because someone across the other world is like, like might be like put to death today and they don't want to, so you should be happy about your life, like it's that, or like, oh well, feel better, be happy, it's a good day, the sun is out. Like, that's toxic positivity. It's telling someone you shouldn't feel a certain way just because it's perceived as a negative emotion. You're not being, your happy, cheerful, chirpy little chirpy self, and other chirp noises. Which again, like I said, it's okay to feel down. That's one thing about life, is you have to be able to feel your highs. You got to have some lows. It's a roller coaster of life. So we all get to experience. Yeah.
Yay, lucky us.
And and of course, I don't think none of us really want to feel that way. So again, accepting it, understanding this is okay, that at this, I have this, and this is going on in my life. Recognizing what's causing it, and kind of working through it, whether it be trying to find something that lifts you up, or something that kind of helps you kind of really focus and like work through the issue, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, understanding where those feelings are coming from can be kind of difficult, but you can at least figure out like what part of your life is the most stressful for you right now. Maybe you don't know the exact thing that's like pushing you kind of over that edge, but you can figure out which part of your life is like really the big stress fault. It could be work, it could be family, it could just be the way you talk to yourself, like Megan does.
And David, hi everybody.
But understanding why you're feeling that way, it can at least give you kind of that, okay, there is a reason behind it. It's not just some random feeling that I've made up in my head. It's just something that I'm going through right now, and it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. I hate the whole shame on not being perfect all the time. That drives me crazy.
Right, and again, it goes along with that toxic positivity of if you're not being perfect and cheerful and happy, you're being a downer in a bad mood, and you need to get over it, which is harmful in its own right because you're not dealing with what you're going through.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, so be gentle with yourself. That's kind of one of my big things. I literally say those words to myself quite frequently, to just be gentle to myself, because I'm not more often than I should be. So I have to like literally say it to myself. I don't like write it on my mirror, which I probably should, but I definitely repeat things to myself sometimes throughout the day, and being gentle to myself is a big thing, cuz I'm like my biggest what am I, competitor? I don't know.
You
What
are
do you,
you are your own worst enemy.
there you go. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Words. Thank you.
Words,
Yes.
English. I think I'm gonna use that for you. I think I'm gonna use that on you too. When you're not doing good and you're upset, I'm like, just be gentle on yourself. Maybe that'll help out a little bit.
Thank you.
Good to know.
Thank you. I like
I'm gonna.
that.
That's good. I like that.
So being gentle on yourself is great, but there's also like kind of the adverse that you really do have to kind of push yourself a little bit to find those joyful moments. I'm not saying make every day perfect. That's impossible. So that search for perfection is kind of what causes a lot of, strife in the world. But finding little bits of joy throughout your day is something that I have to push myself to do. Because if I don't, what is that saying? Like, if you're looking for a yellow balloon, you're always going to find the yellow balloons no matter where you go. So
Right.
if you're looking for a bad moment because you're in a bad mood or whatever, you're always going to find it. So I have to push myself to find the joy, even when my brain's like, nah,
Right.
no.
Yeah, and I think if you don't, you can end up getting stuck in it. And inadvertently, we're always in that kind of like the yellow balloon thing, right? You're just kind of you
Yeah.
always seeing the bad, and you're always stuck in it. So and that kind of puts you into that cycle where you're never kind of moving past. You're not really dealing with and moving past. You're just sitting in it, in that sense.
I think mindfulness is a big part of finding those moments of joy. And I hate using like those, cliche words that people just fling around, but like really being conscious of like what you're doing in the moment. And because I am the person that is thinking of all the things I need to do instead of what I'm doing right in that moment. I could be watching TV, but it's not the only thing I'm doing. In my head, I have a list of things I need to be doing, and again, it's like I have to consciously stop myself from doing that. It's difficult, but when you can just kind of let it just go, their to-do list is not important right now, just be in your moment. I think those are good uh ways to kind of focus your day on little bits of joy and not the crap that can kind of overcome you. It gets to be a little overwhelming if you don't find something to smile about, right, David?
Right. Yes, very much so. Especially when you're sitting all day, work from home for 10, 12 hours at a time. Yeah, that's one thing about dogs. Everyone's like, why are dogs always wagging their tail and so happy? And they're like, well, they live in the moment. They're right now. They're living in it, and that's kind of like man, I can't really say it better. Why am I trying to?
That's really cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you something else here which I like was the simple things really really add up and can make a difference. Doing
Yeah. So whether it's like little things you add to your day, little moments that you focus on, little bits of gratitude, which we do talk about in a little bit, but um, the little things do add up. So, and again, if you're mindful of those little things, if you're not just like you have a delicious cup of coffee, but you're not really thinking about it. You're just like chugging it down and going on with your day. Is that, I mean, is that really going to make a big difference if you just like rush through everything? Enjoying the simple little things throughout the day, they help make for like an overall good day. Even if you have like some shitty moments, you
What's
just focus on those little things.
Well, it's like I have every day around 3 o'clock. I have the same kind of ritual routine. I have a cup of coffee around 3 o'clock every day, and and when it gets me out of my chair, so I'm not sitting. But also, if I'm focusing on code, because I'm a developer by trade, that's what I do for a living.
Hmm.
If I'm working on code and I got a problem and I'm dealing with phone calls and meetings and people messaging me wanting to tell me how API is going to work, I take 3 minutes. I go downstairs and I put the little pot in and hit the button. And the dogs get half a cookie, a coffee break. They get their own little coffee breaks. They get a cookie, coffee break, and they know it. They know they get a cookie, coffee break. So I give them their their cookie, and I make my coffee. And I take that time and I go and I have a few sips and just kind of like break myself out of it and kind of like any stress is there from what I'm dealing with about halfway through my day. Well, about 2/3 of my day, kind of go, okay, what was I working on? Just kind of go back to it. It kind of gives me like a mental break, and it kind of helps me, keeps me from kind of getting in that stressful level that I used to get years ago when I had my other jobs I've been at, where I just kind of let it kind of compound and compound and compound.
And especially that time of day, I think makes a big difference for you too, because that's like that is the point in the afternoon when people start to like lose their motivation, all the stresses of the day start to like compound on you. So having like a little ritual mid-afternoon, I like that. I like that like little things like that will add up to make like such a difference in the way that you experience your day. Mine is I take a lot of breaks to cuddle with my dog. Sounds super simple, but like she brings me the greatest bit of joy. And she's very old, so my time is limited. So every chance I get, I just like, okay, I can not look at the computer for a few minutes and just snuggle with my old smelly dog, and it just makes life so much better. Even when I'm sad, she's still looking at me like I'm the coolest thing that's ever happened. So I mean, animals, I'm telling you,
Because she's
they're great
living that
mental health
moment.
too.
She's living that
There you
moment with you. Just like, I'm here with you. This is what I got. This is what's happening now. I'm so happy.
go. Exactly. I love it.
Yes, and like helping others, kind of like getting out and helping others, whether it's volunteering maybe or like is having conversations with other friends who are having issues and helping work through theirs, kind of give you a sense of accomplishment, I think, and help you kind of move through your own. Also, it's almost like, again, I can pull back to coding. If you have a coding problem and someone else has a coding problem, you're talking to them, kind of help you can work through your own problems as well.
And it puts your problems in perspective, when you hear what your other friends are going through, it kind of reminds you like, oh yeah, because we do need that reminder as selfish, self-centered humans that our problems are not the only ones in the world. They're not the biggest problems, and we know that. But when you're like in the thick of it, when you're feeling, as I say, when I spiral a little bit, when I'm feeling depressed and I like all the bad things are all happening at the same time, like talking to someone else and helping them deal with their problems makes you realize like, oh my god, that advice I just gave them, one, is advice I should probably take myself. Hello. And two, everybody has problems, everybody has their own crap they're dealing with, and most likely you don't want to deal with that friend's problems, just like they don't want to have to deal with yours. But knowing that you like help somebody else pull a smile on their face, put things in perspective, can make a big difference. And right now, during like a year into a pandemic, everybody needs someone to reach out.
Yeah,
Everybody needs you.
yeah.
Like your friends need you. So take that moment to reach out to somebody, and you can make a big difference just by a conversation.
I think I like that because it can turn your problem, which seems like a mountain, into like just a pebble, and a lot of times that can make it easier to deal with, or easier to get over, or easier to understand and find solutions to. And not only that, like, I don't know if you have this on this list, but like, just talk to a friend.
Yeah.
You don't have to suffer in silence. I think the worst thing you can do is suffer in silence. How many of the problems that you and I have shared daily with each other? It's like
Yeah.
some of it's like, that sucks. I'm with you. I hear you. And best of luck. Let me know. Some it's like, well, maybe you should do this. Oh, maybe I should do that.
Right.
But again, don't suffer in silence. There is, there is no valor in just sitting there and suffering when you don't have to.
Yeah, and I feel like we as humans feel like we are supposed to just like sit in there, sit in our issues, and just deal with it, and we're supposed to be able to handle it on our own. And you know that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No, that's what your friends should be there for. It's also what therapy is for,
Yes.
and medication. But your friends can be there to kind of, take the sting out of a bad day. They're not going to make everything all better, but
What's
having like a simple conversation can definitely make kind of a shitty day into a little bit less of a shitty day.
that's kind of what friends are a bit for, because like we that's the thing. But you have friends. You've built your tribe. Like we are pack animals. We are community animals. We like having other animals that are like us around us. And one good thing about friends versus family is you get to pick your
Right.
friends. So if you've chosen, if you have chosen well, then you can reach out and say, "Hey, I've had a shitty day. Let me tell you what's going on." And if you have good friends, and you may have friends like I know, may you not keep our circle really small, so all of our friends are fine tuned and well picked. But you may have a lot of friends. You may have a couple that are like those are your party friends, those are your movie friends, and you have a couple who are like those are your I need some like counseling kind of friends, right? And reaching out to those, they're
Yeah.
your friends. They care about you, and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" Well, this crappy thing is happening.
And they're
I'm mostly the
cool
problem solver
by
friend, huh?
you are the problem solving friend. Yes, you are. That
Yeah.
is great. Yeah, you
If
are.
you got a problem,
Absolutely.
I'll help you
And
solve it. Check out my hook as DJ revolves it. Like, okay.
what I do love about you though is unlike most men, you also kind of understand when I just want to vent and I don't need you to solve my fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like I'm a grown woman. Like there are times when I don't need you to solve it. I just want to bitch and you get that. And sorry dudes, a lot of dudes don't get that. So, high five, David.
Yay. High five to the cameras. Yay.
Yay.
And there are times when I don't. And you're like, I understand. I'm like, all right, cool. Like my feelings don't get hurt. If I'm trying to solve a problem, you're like, I don't need you to solve it. And you just tell me. I go, okay, cool. You don't hurt my
Yeah,
feelings. I'd rather you
again.
tell me like, I need you to hear me out and not solve a problem. I'd be like, that is cool. That sucks. Sucks to be you. What's going on? It doesn't hurt my
That's like
feelings.
less work for you, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I'm not offended. Like, and I've had partners. I'm like, didn't want you to solve a problem. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. Just tell me, and I won't solve it, and I'll back off, and I'll just be here for you. It's not a big deal.
I
Um,
think a lot of the advice that someone might, like a friend would give another friend, kind of centers around something that I am putting more practice into, gratitude. I have a gratitude journal next to my bed. I find it easier to do at night than I know a lot of people do that in the morning, but it's like I like to pull from my day what I was grateful for, instead of in the morning where I'm just like, "Wah, I don't know."
nothing's happened
But
yet.
focusing on the good, because like if I am bitching about something, kind of minor in my life, you usually point out like the good side of it, or that there is something good happening at the same time. And again, like the yellow balloon, if you're not looking for it, if you're not pulling out those things that give you joy and like giving them the attention they deserve, even if it's something minor, like I had some really amazing vegan hot chocolate the other night. That is a huge thing that I am grateful for. It gave me comfort, it gave me warmth, it was delicious. It made me sit there and like focus on something other than like the world and
Right.
all the drama. So being grateful can be very powerful, even if it's like very minor things. Of course, you're grateful for your health, you're grateful for your family, and all that stuff. But if you can like dwindle it down to the little things, again, we keep talking about the little things, they all just do add up. And showing your gratitude for those little things, it reminds you again that your problems aren't you know the end of the world. They could be life changing, but life does go on. It will get better. I hate that cliche, but it does get better. I
Yeah. I always
don't
liked
know, gratitude just
me. I always use the phrase I've said to you a million times of this too shall pass. That's
Hmm.
just I
Yeah.
whenever something's going on, that especially if I have no control over, like a pandemic or like when's the vaccine coming out, or I don't know, some at some point the earth is gets swallowed by the sun, whatever it is. I just like this too shall pass. I have no control. I can't do things directly. All I can do is just handle myself best I can in the situation. This too shall pass. The pandemic suck? Yes, it does. Will it last forever? No, this too shall pass. It feels like it's gonna last forever. It feels like it already has, but no, it will pass. We will
Yes.
move forward. We will move forward eventually. When that will be, I don't know, but it will pass eventually. And that also kind of goes to our.
And there are,
I'll say it also goes to our 10 good things that happened in 2020 episode where we were both kind of like, how can we come up with 5 things? Oh my god! And I was like, it doesn't have to be like monumental. Like, you know, I learned how to like build furniture. Like, no, it can be like, I found a good hot chocolate recipe and it was delicious. That's a good thing. That's a good thing that happened in 2020. So that was, just thinking, it's the little things
very
that
good
add up,
thing.
and being grateful sometimes about that can really go like, my life isn't that much of a, isn't not that much of a problem. My life isn't as heavy as it feels, and it's not, and I will get through this and I will overcome this.
Yeah, and there are light moments in your life. And if you can show gratitude for them, it'll make the hard moments a little bit lighter. At least that's what it feels like to me. Um,
Quite.
Another tip that we have is self care is also about setting limitations. And I've heard people talk about this in different ways before. You hear the term self care a lot, and you think, taking a bath or a face mask or whatever the heck you want to, whatever beauty thing you want to call. But it's also about like setting limits on things. Like I limit the amount of drama I allow into my house, into my home, into my life. You know, I don't allow certain things to happen because that's like a limit. I know that that's going to impede on my mental health. And so I will just stop right there. That's not going to happen. Um, there's, certain things like even limitations on what you do in your day that are not good for you, like staying up till 2 3 o'clock in the morning, like I want to do.
Hey,
I knew you were gonna be like, oh my god. But for some people, a self-care thing would be to limit that abuse of your waking hours and give yourself a little bit more sleep.
see, it's funny you bring limitations up, and self care limitations, because I have that's something I'm working through, is setting up boundaries, limitations, that sort of stuff. I know you're not surprised about that statement. My therapist isn't either, because she's the one who told me to do it. Um, but one thing that I have added, which is interesting, is work time. Because I worked for agencies previously and nonprofits, and I'm working 12, 16 plus hours a day. With nonprofit, it was like doing that 6 days a week. My laptop was with me everywhere that I went. Like I did if I was leaving the house to go to the grocery store, laptop came down, went into a bag, and went with me, just in case I had to like get something done or do something.
Right.
And with the job I'm in now, I've been here for like 2.5 years, I think now, give or take. And I was like, not doing that anymore. Like
No.
if a project is due and we got to get something done, we got to put a little extra, a little bit of extra, grease in the gears and get something done. That's different. My company is like, most companies are like, we believe in work-life balance. My company's a lot better at it than most
Hmm.
have been. But I'm also like, no, my day ends at like 5:30. Unless
Right.
it's an emergency, or like, we have to meet a deadline for for a client or something like that. That no way around it. But no, my day ends at 5:30. At 5:30, I literally will like, okay, I'm done. I'll save, push my code up to the cloud, and wait, it's saved. Excuse me, and then I'll YouTube and Facebook and feed the dogs and and play my Switch and stuff like that. And I just walk away from it. And the only
And I
time
bet
I'll
that
come back is
like
somebody messages me.
I bet you that's a hard thing for people now in
Oh yeah,
times when everyone's working from home, because your boss knows you're there. They know you're near the computer. They know you're in that house. Most likely, you should be. So sometimes they might push that limit. And I think making sure you have that work life balance is a big, big deal. Especially more in today's world where you're like, praised for being busy,
yeah.
praised for having so much to do that you can't find a moment to sit. Relaxation is a priority. So putting a self-care, like, as a limit, creating a limitation as of self-care as like, this is when my work ends. I'm not doing anything else after that. I think that's perfect. And that's advice everyone should be doing right now.
Yeah, if you have and one thing, something I will do on a rare occasion, and of course I let my boss know that I'm going to do it, or who I'm working with, I'm going to do it. Is I might call it the day early. If it's
Hmm.
been a hard week, it's Friday. I'm like, all right, I'm done at 3. I can't. I'm not focused. I've had a hard week. It's been busy with life stuff or work stuff and family, all kinds of stuff and more stuff and all the stuff. I say stuff. I want to add more stuffs on that. But like I got to call it. I got to call at 3 o'clock. Hey, I need I need some kind of a mental health. I'm gonna I'll work a couple extra hours next week, whatever to make up for it. Or leave the servers on. And I'll take care of it this weekend or something. But I got to walk away, and I will leave. I'll walk away from my desk at 3 o'clock and go lay in my bed and turn on YouTube and just watch some stupid stuff on YouTube. Just to, and again, setting that limitation for your own mental health, and when you're not feeling 100%, you're not feeling average or above, you're below average. Setting the limitation. And limitation is today. I don't
Yeah.
leave. I don't walk away from my desk my day is at 3. No, my day doesn't always end at 5:30, but I try to make it into 5:30. There's some days it has to end at 3, or I'm not going to get any work done. The work I do is going to be subpar because I'm not in it.
Right. Yeah. I
So
love that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that limitation, whether that's you have a partner or a spouse and you have kids, you're like, all right, I know it's my day. Take to do whatever. Can you take them? I gotta have I gotta have a space. The space limitation can be just for one day to give yourself the ability to kind of recoup or recalculate or take the time to show gratitude or you're just like enjoying that cup of coffee. You watch the kids. I'm gonna go. I'm on the back patio with a really good cup of coffee with my book, listen to the birds, and just read and drink a cup of coffee and reset. That is some self care. That can actually do a lot for your mental health and your emotional health to kind of bring you back up to your baseline at least.
Yeah, it'll make you your better self by just taking a little bit of a break, and don't feel guilty for taking those breaks and creating those limitations. Those are needed. Like, you need those. You would do the same thing for your kids. You don't want them to socialize all day constantly because they'll be overstimulated and a crazy person by the end of the day. So you do set limits. They need to take a nap, they need to have some quiet time. They need to just chill a little bit. That you have those limitations for them. It's the same thing for yourself. Like, you need to like make sure that that's important, and a priority. So those are definitely good tips.
For sure.
Um, the next one is probably something that David does not do.
No.
um, Write it out. So everyone talks about journaling, and yes, that is a great thing to do when you're feeling a little blue or overly anxious. You can definitely write it out. There are online journals that you can do. I can't remember the one that I use. I think it's like Penzu, Penzu, something like that. It's just an online journal. Yeah, you could just use Word and keep one and not make an account anywhere, but I like it because it's like a nice little format. You could also, and this is like the weird writer in me, if journaling doesn't fit you, you can write your feelings as if you're a character in a story. Like, how would a character in a story express how you're feeling? Or how would they describe this issue they're having? And maybe in that short story, how would their friend respond? You can literally play it out in that. And I know it sounds super weird, but it's like a creative way of kind of journaling and figuring out how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, perhaps the advice that you could take to feel a little bit better. And it also helps you kind of create something, which is another, tip that we are going to talk about in 5 seconds. So.
uh, and on long lines of that, you can also poetry
There you
or
go.
song lyrics,
Oh,
which saying I don't do that, that's what I do. So
okay. Sorry.
that's actually what I do. And but mine, you read it, you probably call someone because I listen to metal. So most of my stuff is like a little more aggressive. Um, but in a like not in a literal way, in a more of a poetic way,
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
But that's like I feel like I'm upset and I have something to say, but no one to really say it to won't think I'm insane. So this sounds aggressive, but that's not what it really means, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I literally have a document in Google Docs that just I created like I just do like Command Enter, which creates a page break, and I go,
Mhm.
here's 10 lines. It's in my head. Bloop, 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 bloop. I feel better, and I go back to what I'm doing, and I go back read it and go, that's pretty cool. I should start a band.
I
But
love that. I love that you write little metal songs just to get some stuff out of your brain.
yeah, so
That's amazing. I did not know that.
I've written
That's pretty
entire
cute.
songs. There's some things that's like 4 lines. It's like, you know, but yeah, that's what I do. I
And
do
that
like
kind of leads into our tip to create something. Be creative and make something. So whether you're just trying to get your feelings out or you want to make like a full song, either way, um if you want to paint how you're feeling, if you just want to get your emotions out with paint or whatever you might use, drawing, creating something not only helps you kind of express how you're feeling, but then you have something tangible in the end, something that's most likely beautiful, feels really good to you, what that the emotions behind that piece. And just creating something even that has absolutely nothing to do with how you're feeling. So I talked about this in the 10 things that didn't suck in 2020. I started making resin art. It doesn't express how I feel in any way, shape, or form, but it's beautiful stuff. And when I sit down and create something with it, I feel so good because I love color. Color is like, I just love color. I love the textures. I love all the things that go into like, what am I going to do with this piece? Like, I love creating things, and that is a huge, big, massive tip that I have focused on for years now. Whenever I'm feeling kind of my crappiest, I start to like really dive into more craft and art and self expression, which is a daily thing, but it really becomes like massive when I'm feeling my crappiest.
what's when you're creating and you're doing the resin stuff when you especially when you're like completing you're getting through the steps. That's a dopamine hit. That's what that is. It's a drug.
Mhm.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's positive. It's the same reason
Right.
I have a game on my phone, and when I connect the little squares and it goes ding 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 and I get little bells and stuff like that was awesome. That's my brain going dopamine, dopamine, do it again, dopamine. So
Yep.
when you're creating, when you're like drawing or you're sculpting or you're doodling or sketching or right whatever you're doing that's creating something, they mean being creative in some facet, you're getting those dopamine hits every time you do a little piece of it. The next little step, you're getting a little more dopamine, which which will elevate your mood and makes you happier. I mean, it's gonna help build you up, and also could help give you a better perspective. Even along the lines of that, finding a hobby um,
Yes.
helps too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people are kind of like how I was, where it's like, what do I do as a hobby? All I know is what I do for a living. That's all I know. And the best advice I read, more than once. And that's like new. Okay, if I'm reading this thing more than once, that's I don't need to think about it. Was what did you enjoy as a kid when you were a little?
Ooh.
And you when you're little, you don't really care about what others think. I'm not when you're a teenager. You care when you're a teenager. But when you're a little kid and you got nothing to do and you want to go, I'm bored. And you entertain yourself to make yourself happy. And what did you do? What was the thing that you did? And that's as an adult is what you should do, right? Because if that made
I
you
love
happy as a
that.
kid when you didn't care what people thought, that's gonna make you happy now because that is to the essence of who you were and what made you feel good. And
Right.
again, I do my little line art stuff because that's what I did as a kid. Entertain myself, piece of paper, making shapes, making lines, and that's what I did. And I really enjoy this. It's the first like
Aw.
creative thing that I've enjoyed because like that's what I did as a kid. I enjoyed that. Why did I stop? So if you're trying to find something to kind of pull you up and get you kind of out of that funk, what did you do? What did you enjoy as a kid? Was it riding bikes, skateboarding, doodling, getting out some clay and building build something with clay? Do that. Go to the art store and get some cheap kids clay and start just like squishing it up, making stuff. Why not?
Right. You could do like a little choreographed dance. I mean, it doesn't have to be like something you can touch with your hands. Again, you can write a song. um and no one has to see nor hear no or nor know you did anything. Like
It's for
it
you.
can be just for you to get those feelings out, to express yourself. um it brings me joy that I can't find anything else that brings that specific kind of like, not just an accomplishment, but like a, oh, I made something really pretty that someone else might even think is pretty. Like that just, I don't know, it feels so good in a weird, unique way. Yeah, try to find a way to be creative. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Simplify wherever possible. This just makes me think of fellow moms out there, but it can relate to anyone, even you, like anyone. If there's any way that you can give yourself time. When I feel my most anxious, it's when I feel overwhelmed. I have too many things to do. There's not enough time. I only have so much energy to get things done. But if I can take something kind of off my plate, delegate it somewhere else, that can give me a little bit of time. And simplifying things can do that. So whether it's, I order my groceries from Instacart a lot of the time, that makes it a lot simpler. They just arrive. I don't have to go anywhere, especially during a pandemic. I really don't want to, but it just makes things like a little bit easier. I have a subscription box for my tampons. I know that sounds weird, but I don't ever have to think about it again. I never have to be like, oh no, I don't have any. I have to run to the store. They're just always there because they come every month. So those little things that kind of give you like take something off your brain, give yourself a little bit of extra space. Maybe delegate with your spouse. There's a chore you hate, but they don't mind, and a chore they hate and you don't mind. Switch. Like you don't have to do the chore you hate, you can switch, and then that gives you like a little bit of extra like
Space.
simplicity in your life. You don't have to focus on that stupid thing you hate. Like my husband cleans out the fridge for me. I don't have to do that. It grosses me out. I hate it. I do laundry. He doesn't have to do that. It's annoying to him. Those little things like simplify your life a little bit and give you a little bit of extra time. The looks David is giving
I'm like,
me.
what is that like? Uh, I offline conversations. Um, no, I have a subscription for like my razors because I shave my head and I shave my face and stuff. So I have a subscription for my razors, and I also and include I do like shampoo and deodorants and stuff like that through the same subscription.
Right.
Um, I'm not saying who because they're not sponsoring the show. So if they sponsor, I might say who. But I do that because again, I could spend all day at like Target or Bram going like, okay, what? And I go, no, I know what I know the stuff I like. It's the hydrating, this and that and the other thing, and what I just whenever I know I'm getting low, I drop it in and keep moving. There was
Right.
there was something I saw. I can't remember where I read it and I loved it. And it was I think it was it was a therapist talking about a client or the other way around, but the concept was run the dishwasher twice. Have you seen this?
I think so, but I don't
And
remember.
the thing is that there was
Sounds
the person in therapy was like upset about like there's just these they have dishes and then if they don't wash them and then it gets them they get anxious and then they have to like and then they okay now they're getting dirtier and then I have to like scrub them and then if I don't wash and like if I don't wash them enough I gotta run the dishwasher and the whole thing this whole big long stressful piece and therapist was like well just run the dishwasher twice put the dishes in run them. If they're not clean, run it again. And they're like, well, then I'm running it twice. It's like, what does it matter? One, a dishwasher actually uses less water than washing by hand.
right.
It's more efficient because that's what they do. That's what they're built to do. Efficiently wash your dishes. So
Right.
they're statistically on average going to use less water than you scrubbing all your dishes by hand. And if washing your dishes in dishwasher through two washes reduces the stress and allows you to focus and have a little more of a mental space and a little
Hmm.
more like room to breathe.
Yep.
Run them twice. Nothing wrong with that. I have I've dealt with someone who was like that. They're like this is still dirty. Okay, put it back in. Wash it again. It's not a big deal. But it's still dirty. It's still like, is the dishwasher going to get turned on again eventually? Yes.
Just put it back in.
Just put it back in. I pull a cup out and go, ugh, the coffee cup didn't get clean all the way. Put it back in, put everything else out, and let it run again. Second time, it's clean. Dishwasher's going to get turned on again.
Right.
It's not like it's not going to get run for 2 years. It'll get run within the next couple days. Put it back in. Doesn't care. If you got to run it twice, so what? It'll take me more time to get that coffee cup out and scrub it and all this stuff and make sure and get a little piece out and then put it in there. But it's just easier for me to just leave it in there, and then I'll have to scrub it, and I can go out and play with the dogs in the backyard, or watch something on Netflix, or play get to the next level of my game, and that I will enjoy a lot more than scrubbing a stupid coffee cup. Just wash it again. If you can find those little things when you're having those low moments or like moments a little stressful of why am I stressing out over this?
Mm-hmm.
Washing it twice, what does it matter? And some things you feel are urgent, it's not. It's urgent to you.
It's really not.
Some things you don't have to do right now. You feel that you do. You think you have to do it right now. It's got to get done. But does it? Or can it get done tomorrow because it's not due for 2 weeks?
Right.
And I even at work, I used to stress about like all my tasks at work because we run sprints. And what I got a habit of doing was just doing the small things first, the little bugs, the small little tasks, because not only is it going to give you that sense of accomplishment of like I got stuff done, which is kind of gives you a boost starting out your work week or your sprint or whatever it is.
Going. Yeah.
Right, and then but it also leaves you time for the bigger stuff that are more pressing, so you can actually focus. And so you have a task of 20 things. Now I have 4. I knocked those out in like 3 days. Now I have 2 weeks to knock through these 4 things and have more room to breathe. And so I could take that 3 o'clock coffee break and not be like, okay, I got to get this done. If not, because I've focused and I've organized myself in a way that I get this accomplishment. I get that dopamine hit to start me out in the week. So when I get to the hard part of my week, I can look at my list. It's so much shorter. Everyone else's list is longer, how they're doing their stuff. So it's just, again,
trying to simplify.
Do the small stuff first if that's what works for me. If you got to wash dishes twice, just run the dishwasher twice. It's okay. It's okay.
And anything that you can take like a little control over, just like that, like those things, like take a little bit of control over it. But if there is anything, and this is a huge thing for me, I have a habit of this. If there's anything that's like hanging over your head that you've been putting off doing, just right now, pause the show and go do it, because it'll make you feel so good. If you need to like make a doctor's appointment for that virtual visit for that, that little rash or whatever that keeps coming back, whatever it may be, just make it, just do it. There's usually the things that I put off are very short, but they just give me so much anxiety. I'm like, no, I can't do it. And it is phone calls a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I feel
same.
you. I know listeners understand me right now. Making a phone call to make an appointment is freaking hard, and it is okay if we admit that as an adult. It's fine. But after you make that phone call, you cannot tell me you're just like, whew, okay. Oh, look, I did it. Oh my God. High five. Go me. Like, I feel so good. I'm like, I freaking climbed a mountain when I just made a simple freaking phone call. But those things you've been putting off, if you can do just one thing this week, you will get such a rush and such a bit of that whole rush of relief that I feel when I do something like that. It's a feeling that you go back to, that you kind of crave again. Like, I look forward to that. Oh, okay. I got that done kind of feeling. I love that. And that's, one of those good feelings that can counteract those bad feelings.
What's the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step's always the hardest. Once you make that first step, you just keep moving forward, keep doing what you're doing and going forward with it.
Yep. Oh, this next tip is more David than Megan.
Yeah, so this is the one I had on the list was do something physical. It's been shown in countless studies. Being physically active will and elevates your mood. It gives you dopamine hits, gives you endorphins. Both of those brain chemicals elevate your mood. Can also offer brain clarity. And for me, it's a great time for me to think and to process and
Oh,
reflect. I go for a trail run every Saturday, and I have blaring metal in my head, in my ears, or not in my head, it's in my ears. I'm not shove the headphones inside my head. It's in my ears, or podcast, or something going. You can listen to our podcast while you're running. Great time to do
there
it.
you go.
Uh, but and I'm just processing decisions I have to make. What's going on, what happened this week, and it's literally it's 2 hours of me just running through the woods, breathing heavy, and just either pondering and making decisions or just clearing my head, completely just getting
Right.
out of it and just like enjoying the run and my heart beating and the hills and people on the hike on the trail that hike on the trail that I'm trying to run on. They're in my way, but their little dogs are walking with them and they're so cute. We're dealing with that. So whether it's you're thinking about like issues and how you're going to solve them, or like your life or your day or your week, or you're just finding that clarity just to stop and almost be almost like an active meditation, really. Um,
I like that. Yeah.
it's came up just
And it
now.
doesn't have to be running for 2 hours like David does.
Yeah,
It can be dancing in your kitchen. um, it can be taking your dog for a walk.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Simple movements are just as effective as a hardcore workout.
Right, just
So
again,
any kind of physical, get it out, especially because we're all sitting so much. Well, most of us, if you have like a job like we do, I just sit so much. Like recording right now, I'm sitting again. I'm
I've been
like conscious of the fact that I'm sitting again.
yeah, kind of like you. I've been sitting since like 8, 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just in general, just getting up and moving. Like I said again, if anything, it gives you a chance to not think. Just
Yes.
don't think. Like I try to go hit the gym. I try to hit the gym like 4 times a week. Sometimes when we record till 10:30, I don't. But
Sorry.
I don't care. It's fine. I'll just shift it a day. It's fine. But that's a time I try not to think. Also, the gym, I'm actually in the gym lifting weights. I try not to think. I'm focused on sets and reps.
Hmm.
Finding a podcast. It's like a vegan podcast or like some sort of like weightlifting or running or physical activity podcast or just to hate breed blaring in my ears. I'm not really trying to think so much about what my issues are and things I'm dealing with. I'm just focused on the now. Like right there, there was there's a bodybuilder. I can't remember his name. Saved my life. I think it's Kai Green. He's the one who said it. He was talking about in the gym or you're being active. Love yourself. You're in there for yourself. Tell yourself you love yourself. Be there for yourself. You're out in the world. Tell everybody out in the real world you love them. Be there for them. You're out there for them. Help them be there for your friends and your family. But you're in the gym. You're being physical, whether it's running, dancing, lifting
Hmm.
weights, kickboxing, whatever it is. You're in there for yourself. Love yourself. Be there for yourself. And if you think of it like that, like focusing on yourself, that's gonna help you elevate. Like I'm lifting the weights more. I ran a little further. You know, giving yourself kind of those little props, those little one ups will actually help you kind of, I think, helps elevate out of kind of like a shitty mood or if you're in a funk as you have right there.
Yeah. Funk.
The
That's what I
funk.
like to call it. Sometimes I get in a funk.
It's all right.
What?
And it wrong being a funk.
Um, so we did talk a little bit about connecting with friends or loved ones, especially nowadays. That's a very important thing to do. And it can be a superficial conversation. It could also, and this is a nice little way of virtually hanging out with your friends and family. We have done a Netflix watch party. Is that what it's called? Something like that, where you
It is
watch a
now,
movie
yeah.
together. Yeah, like so whoever sets it up, they have control over the pause button and whatever. And you all watch the same movie together or the same series, whatever it is on Netflix, and there's a chat on the side so you can text chat to each other. So you don't have to be on camera, you don't have to talk, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff because being on camera bothers me a great deal. Like right now, I don't even like looking at myself.
Now you good,
But again, be nice to yourself, Megan.
right?
But I don't even know what I was talking about now. Oh, but being able to like chat with your friends while you're watching the same movie is like so fun because you can't really do that on the phone. You'll hear the stupid movie in the background. It's distracting, and hearing each other talk is distracting. But if you can just like chat, that's a fun way to communicate and connect and like distract yourself from your shitty little problems that
We
you can
all
just
have,
ignore them
yeah.
for a little bit. Watch a movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even if you're you're connecting with loved ones and friends like that, you don't have to like talk about your problems, work things out. Sometimes it's like, how are the kids? How's the dog? What'd you do
mhm,
today? Oh, I went to the park. How's the park? It's just you can have having again. Some of it's just stepping away from what you're dealing with can give clarity.
mhm.
Um, and just enjoying those who are in your life and it can also help you be grateful for them that they're there. I mean, I'll call, talk, help me and you talk throughout the day. I'm just like, what's going on? How's work? We're not always like, this sucks. Here's why. It's like, work's going good. Got to figure out problems. It's
Yeah.
fine. We don't like go into depth. I'm sure at that moment you got something going on. I probably got something going on, but we're not looking for that. We're just like connecting. We'll go into the general chat. We use Slack for a lot of our friends.
Yeah.
And just like, here's a picture of my dog. Just randomly, just so we can kind of connect with each other because it gets everybody away from whatever funk they're dealing with and helps you can also help you kind of get away from yours and it gives some clarity and give you got a little bit of a mental space to actually work through whatever you're working through.
And again, I hate harping on the fact that this is like, incredibly rough time for the entire world, but we do need our each other right now. Like we need each other. We need the people that we have chosen in our lives that we love to be there with us. Like whether it is watching a movie and chatting or, just texting each other a picture of your dog, like we need each other right now. So even if you feel like you're completely alone, if you reached out to people, they would respond because right now we all just need to communicate. We just need people, especially because you just can't be around them. You at least want to talk to them in some way. Like, God, such a relief sometimes.
Well, we're social animals, so
Right.
yeah, it definitely makes sense. And sometimes you kind of get a little overwhelmed with people, and you
Yes.
need to step away. You need to turn off your social media and tell your friends, I'm gonna go away for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You've done this, which is we all like, okay, bye, see you on Sunday, see you Monday.
Yep.
Just like I'm stepping out. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on anything. I'm just gonna step away and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
spend the day in the garden, outside with the dog, drink some coffee. Going. You're hanging out with the family, watching movies all day, whatever it is. Just kind of
Yeah, my tech-free days are big days for me. Like where I'm just like, I'm not gonna be on my phone. I'm not gonna like really disengage very much. I just want to like be here and just be quiet a little bit. It's okay to take those moments, those days, and your friends will understand. Give them their space too when they take that time because they need it just as much as you do.
yeah.
Um,
There's been days I'll message you through like Slack something. And I don't hear back, and I go, tech free day. I just assume because usually you'll get back to me pretty quick. But if it's like hours, I hear nothing. I'm like, she's taking the day off. That's fair.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's usually that or I'm like swamped. But even if I'm swamped, I'll respond unless I'm just like, I can't talk today. It's just
And that's
not in my
fair.
brain. But that's like the time that I will be like, okay, when I'm done working, I'm going to like sit on the couch, watch a show with my dog. My husband works evenings, so he works from home, but he's working, at night. When I get off of work, he starts work, so we work opposite hours. So I tend to just hang out by myself at night and I'll just like watch TV, watch a movie, read, again, like the basic things that, bring you joy. Don't feel guilty for doing them. Like there is like this weird thing in this world where it's like if you just sit around and watch Netflix all night, you're like wasting time in
Yeah.
your life. Like, what if you're gone tomorrow? Well, yeah, what if I am gone tomorrow? Do I want to sit here being stressed the fuck out because I need to clean the bathroom? Or do I want to sit down and watch Bridgerton and love British romance?
Yeah. I mean, of course
The latter.
you can what if all day. What if the moon was your car and Jupiter was your hairbrush? What a lot of things. And that's what I had to deal with was you've known me for a while. Like I'm type A. I'm type A with ADHD. So Yeah. If you can tell by my voice and how I talk and run everything together, I'm type A with ADHD. Anybody else figure that out? But and it's statistically people like me, we have short lifespans because we just drive our heart and our with stress right into the ground. Um, and again, that's what this job I had to go. Okay, I can't do that. I'm gonna have a heart attack. Can have a heart attack, and I don't mean that from like a diet situation. It's a stress thing. And that kind of hit home me a little bit. There was a podcaster I was listening to, and he had talked about how he had a heart attack, and it wasn't a diet. He worked himself literally
Hmm.
into a heart attack. And it was called like I think doctors called it a stress attack. And basically, he just put himself under so much stress, his heart just like gave out essentially.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, I'm working with this guy. So I had to like, okay, I can't take my laptop with me everywhere. I gotta have end of my day. And I go to the gym and I'll work out and stuff. But my end of day, I take time. I lay down on my bed, on my pillows, my dog at my feet, pull up my Switch, and I'll play one of my games, like a little football game or something, while I'm watching YouTube. And I just like nothing else is going on. I'm a nerd, so of course I have technology all around me. But I have my phone in case like Meg messaged, hey, what's up? You messaged me. What are you doing? I'm watching YouTube, playing my Switch. That's
And that's almost like that used to be my drive home. That used to be my quiet. I listened to my true crime podcast,
yeah,
decompress before I walk in the door to my husband and my kids. And now I don't have that time. It goes straight from I'm working on my couch to now I'm cooking in my kitchen 2 feet away. So it's like I don't, you don't right now it's kind of hard to like differentiate that. But like I like that like right after work you just like sit there and you're like, I have to take a little bit of time to just quiet and decompress. And I think I kind of do that, but it's more I take the dog out.
yeah.
I go and like I wash my face after work. I don't know why. A lot of women will do it just morning and nighttime. In the middle of the day, I feel like, okay, well, I guess it's 5 o'clock, it's not the middle of the day, but it's like I gotta like wash the day off of my face or whatever. So, taking that moment to decompress right after the end of a work day, that's a great tip too, I
It's
think.
it's it's ritualistic. It's kind of the same thing. It's like it's
Yeah.
ritualistic. It kind of goes. It gives you like this is it. This is where I'm stopping, and having that point to stop is good for you. Let your body know we're done. We don't have really much anything else to do. We can start kind of like getting calmed down and relaxed and ready for the end of the day. It also can tell a partner in the house, hey, this is it. This is it should not it doesn't work for everybody, but he's like, hey, I've washed my face. I'm laying here like playing
Yeah.
my this is end of day for me. If you want me to go do some crazy stuff, probably ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because this is it. I've called it a day. And even part of that is as making taking that time, even the quiet time, I think is shifting priority. So talking about like do you want to clean the bathroom or do you want to like watch a show? I do all of my cleaning one day a week. Like
Right.
I straighten up the other week, wipe counters off, but Sunday that's when I clean my house, and I have a pattern that I go through. I know like I'm in kitchen, dining room, living room, bathrooms, and I can knock it all out. But that means I'm not stressed out about it throughout the week.
Right.
I don't think about it. I know Sunday I'm cleaning the bathrooms. I don't have to scrub the bathroom tonight, even though like oh okay the sink needs to get wiped down. Well, that's cool. I'm gonna do it in a few days anyway.
Right.
Right. So I think shifting priorities and not making it a focus all the time. Actually, it's interesting is that my mom did this growing up. She like her day was Saturday though. And she was that person who would clean every single day. And it was just a massive, massive stressor for her. She was constantly like, she'd go to work, get off work, take care of the kids, get the fed, vacuum the house, wipe everything down. And she had to make that adjustment because it was just going to drive her to an early grave if she
Hmm.
didn't shift that focus. So she just took all of her housework without, there's straightening up, there's, wiping the counters off, doing the dishes and stuff, make sure in the dishwasher. But all the major cleaning instead of just constantly throughout the week, crush that down, focus on most of one day that you feel like you can spare, and just knock it out. And just focusing on those larger tasks and compressing them down to like a very focused time can give you just that mental space. So now, instead of going till you pass out, now she could sit and read a book and watch TV and kind of like have that decompressing.
I tend to clean Thursday nights so that I can give myself, Friday and Saturday to just like not think about it. I don't get everything done Thursday nights, but it's
Hmm.
enough where I can like relax most of the weekend and then I do the rest on Sundays. So you can even, break it up a little bit like that. Um, and I kind of like enjoying cleaning at night, and that's something that has occurred to me recently, that I kind of prefer getting it a little tidied up at night, and like knowing that about myself also kind of helps me, prioritize when I do things so those stressors aren't hanging on me first thing in the morning. I know that I'd prefer to do it Thursday night, everything will be fine. Just I like what you just said, where you're just like, you can see that something needs to be done, but you're just like, I have a day for that.
Right.
It's okay. Like, that's important. And there's also, I've heard people talk about scheduling a worry hour or a worry day where you're just like, okay, so like from, 4 to 5, I'm going to worry about everything that is driving me crazy and I'm stressed about. And then I'm going to let it go every other. I don't think that would work for me per se, but I do like the thought of like, okay, you can be freaked out right now, but after this, you got to kind of like rein it in and calm it down. Like, this is your worry time, but you know that there's, things that can be done. I think that's an interesting thought. I wonder how well that works for other people.
I don't
A
know.
worry hour.
I could try. I don't know if that worked for me. I'd have like worry hours. That'd be,
Exactly.
I would have to have off hours. Like worry. Okay, I'm okay. Okay, what was I worried about again? But
Yeah, I
that's
don't know.
that'd be something you have to something you'd actually have to practice and get used to.
Yes. Okay, our
But
final tip.
yes,
Our final one to
which is the
help
opposite
you
of
when you're feeling
yes,
a little bit less than average.
the
You're
average.
feeling a little anxiety, a little depression. You can use social media for good.
Dun 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 dun.
You, instead of looking at it as the enemy, you can find helpful information on there. And also, like, not just like helpful, inspiring, videos, things like that. It can also just be funny things that make you laugh. Getting a good laugh out of you when you're feeling like crap is like, man, that's a feeling that is so beautiful and so rare. So, using social like Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, like we use YouTube quite frequently for this. Anything that's like inspires you, makes you feel like pumped up. I mean, I can't think of any like motivational person at this moment. My brain went completely blank. I can't think of anyone. But like, I watch things like people that do the craft that I love, that do it really, really well, that inspire me. That kind of helps me distract myself from whatever crappy thing I'm doing. And it kind of helps me focus on how I can get better in one part of my life. Like, I kind of like that part of it, it inspires me to improve in that area. I also just use social for funny stuff
Yeah,
a lot. A lot.
I like when it comes to like I like to look up like I like comedy. I like comedians, like stand up comedy. So I'll find videos of like my favorite comedians, just doing
Yeah.
whatever. My favorite comedian really is Kyle Kinane. If you like stand up, anybody like stand up, Kyle Kinane. He's comedic genius. He's just brilliant. I don't know why he isn't as like any more famous than he is, because he's just it's hilarious. Um, but I also Kyle Kinane. I also like watching like review videos,
Ooh.
like like either like tech like technology review videos. There's a few that I
Mhm.
watch. Yeah, Your Average Consumer, and there's just Conrad, and then there's another one I watch. That or like Switch games, even games I won't buy. The reason being is because those people are super passionate about that, because they're reviewing a very specific like type of item, whether it be a game
Mhm.
or phones or earbuds. As I'm messing with my earbud case. But they're passionate about that thing. So someone that energy that like they're really into it, and they're really excited and really go into details about why this is good and why it's bad.
Yep.
That alone is like, oh, that's really cool. I should buy that. That's cool. And I don't need anything, but but it's just that passion. It's kind of uplifting. And again, I love comedy. I get super into like of comedy movies and stand up comedy, and it's, if you get me to laugh, we can be friends. Um, so
I'm
watching comedy.
definitely a girl that looks up quotes. I mean, I'm like I'm a typical girl that like likes a quote on a pretty background. Yeah, I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
ashamed.
I didn't wrong being basic. Nothing wrong being basic.
Yep, yep. And they actually can like really make you kind of put things in perspective sometimes where you're just like, oh, that's a way of thinking about things. I should probably try that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
so
and
yeah.
hashtags are amazing. I've used them. You hashtag like you do hashtag sad, and then there's all kinds of special inspirational quotes of like kind of overcoming that and things like
Right.
and the like. Um, yeah, it just hashtags are so Instagram is great for that sort of stuff. I use Instagram for that stuff all the time, just for like I feel a
Yeah, and
certain way.
Pinterest too.
Hashtag how I feel, and then stuff about how I feel. If it either it's either inspiration to get you over that or get you through that problem, or it's people talking about or sharing that have the same problem. Was just knowing you're not alone, knowing that you had that someone else is dealing with that. Whether you're watching a YouTube video about someone dealing with the same thing, whether it's depression or loss or job sucks or your kids driving you crazy, there are videos and posts about the opposite of overcoming that or getting through it or dealing with it. Or people are like, yeah, I deal with it too, and that sucks.
Right. And it feels good to know that, yeah, that someone sees you, that someone gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely a helpful tip. Um, to just find someone,
Sorry for the
find
audio, guys.
content that makes you feel like you're not alone in feeling this way, because you're not. Like we're telling you right now, you're not. I deal with anxiety to an extreme. I deal with depression and feelings of sadness. There has been suicide in my family. Mental health is a big issue in my life, and I definitely do what I can every day to find that little bit of joy. My husband has told me before, no matter what mental health struggles I have, he always finds it impressive that every day I wake up and I try to do something to improve myself. It's almost like I'm irritated that I don't have better mental health. So I'm like, no, no. Yeah, so I lose that motivation sometimes throughout the day, but in the morning I'm just like, nah, I don't want to live like that. No, that's not how it's going to be. Yeah, by the end of the day I might be like, yeah, that's how it is today, but it's fine. It's fine. But but like getting mad at my own mental health because I'm just like, no, that I can't allow that to happen anymore. And I think these tips really kind of help you when you're feeling less than average, when you're feeling crappy, when this world is, full of anxiety and it, keeps shoving more of it in your face. We hope these tips will kind of give you a little bit of relief.
It
I
does
mean,
for
and we
us.
would love to hear your tips. I mean, we obviously didn't cover everything that you could possibly do in the world. So we want to hear from you guys. We want to know like what kind of tips that you guys have. Um, but I am curious, what would be your number one tip from this list, David?
Oh man, you're just gonna throw that at me, huh? It's gonna. Uh, um, I would say just take some quiet time. It's a tie between that and do something physical because I do those two things every day for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I would say if you could do both of those, do something physical, and when you get back, find that quiet time to sit down and like you physically do something for your physical body, now do something for your mental body. Kind of if you can find that balance. That's I
And you
would do
used
both.
to not do that.
No,
Like you used to not take that quiet time. You've always been physical, but you
yeah,
used to not take the quiet time. And so I'm like, I'm very proud of you for doing
that's the
that in
part
the
I was
past.
missing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
No,
I think my favorite is the gratitude. I just really feel like it's very powerful for me. There is something on here that I didn't list because again, it just sounds like kind of you heard it a million times, but I do practice meditation. I use the app Insight. Is that what it's called? Insight something.
I think so.
Ah, crap, my phone's turned off, so it wouldn't make any noise. It's Insight something. Um, but yes, I have to force myself to take the time to do it. I literally can only do up to 10 minutes at the moment. Like I used to be able to do a lot more, but then I dropped off of the practice, and it really is something you kind of build up as you go along.
Yeah.
But I have the hardest time in my life controlling my thoughts and slowing them down and like being in control of what I'm thinking. Sometimes I let my brain take over control, which I'm assuming a lot of people do. So by meditating, like again, just like being vegan, we don't expect you to be perfect right away. Meditating, it takes a long time to be really, not perfect at it, but be like really good at meditating to like really be able to control those thoughts just kind of flying in. But just try it. It's being able to control your breath is enormous. I mean, that helps with your physical, like working out and
Hmm.
stuff, but like controlling your breath can help mentally too in a way that you just, I don't know, I just don't think people think about sometimes. So there's my bonus tip for today.
Bonus.
um, and I think we have yapped enough. We hope that you guys like this different take, this different kind of episode. We did a little mental health break. We feel like we all kind of need that, especially in the beginning of this year. So hopefully this helps you guys.
Yippers.
Um, yeah.
Yippers. I agree.
So
All of
dramatic.
that. Second.
I love you, David. And you, listeners, can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, or anywhere else you can get your podcast fix. Make sure to leave us a review and recommend us to your friends, family, coworkers, strangers, the delivery driver. Of course, follow us on Instagram at The Average Vegans or email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com, where you will find show notes and links and more and all that stuff on our website. We'd love to hear from you. We want to know your tips for managing your mental health and when you're feeling a little less than average. We love to hear your vegan story and any questions you might have about the vegan lifestyle. And that is it for this week.
All right. Well, until next time, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye.